Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Triple H has put himself in a tough position following Crown Jewel 2024. In Riyadh, Randy Orton broke a number of WWE rules along with Kevin Owens before Adam Pearce was attacked. Adam Pearce is the general manager of Raw, while the Viper is part of the SmackDown roster. This means Pearce actually has no power to punish Orton for the assault. Nick Aldis will likely need to hand out a fine or punishment to Orton. However, he may not do it because of his adversarial relationship with Pearce. This could lead to the 46-year-old forcing Triple H to step in. The WWE Hall of Famer was on SmackDown a few weeks ago talking to Orton about the latter's match with KO before it turned into chaos. Triple H told the Viper that giving him the match against Owens was a bad idea. The game was right, as the contest ultimately didn't even get underway in Saudi Arabia. WWE superstars are not allowed to attack officials and authority figures. The Viper broke the long-standing rule at Crown Jewel, which might compel the game to take strict action. Triple H could appear on WWE Raw next week to punish Orton. The latest episode of Raw was pre-taped as it took place in Saudi Arabia. This means that there wasn't much time for Orton and Owens' story to continue. The rivals could be present this week on SmackDown, but it's unlikely that Aldis would address the situation. Owens might need to face some kind of punishment for his attack on a WWE official, which could just be a fine. However, Orton's RKO to Adam Pearce could be something that the game might not forgive easily. With Raw heading to Netflix in January, there is a chance that Orton could be sent over to the Red brand as part of the punishment. Triple H might appear on the Monday night program to announce the move. This could allow Pearce to exact revenge on the multi-time world champion. At present, it is clear that the feud between the former NWA World Champion and Aldis has only just begun. It will be interesting to see whether the Viper will play a significant role in the rivalry. In the world of WWE, where the boundary between reality and scripted drama often blurs, few things are as sacred as the long-standing rules that govern the backstage conduct of its superstars. These rules, though rarely discussed in the public eye, have kept the company's image intact, ensuring that its massive global fan base continues to view WWE as not only a sports entertainment company but also a family-friendly, professional organization. However, there are moments when even the most well-respected stars can fall from grace, breaking a rule that could ripple throughout the locker room and affect the entire organization. Such a scenario unfolded when Triple H, the chief content officer of WWE, was forced to make a tough decision after a major WWE star broke one of the company's oldest and most sacred rules: no physical altercations between superstars outside of matches or scripted segments. It all began during a chaotic Monday Night Raw segment. A highly anticipated match between two of the company's top stars, let's say Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins, was marred by a backstage confrontation that escalated into an unexpected and unscripted altercation. The two stars, who had been involved in a heated feud for weeks, found themselves on opposite sides of a bitter argument during a meeting about the direction of their storyline. What was intended to be a heated exchange of words turned physical, with McIntyre and Rollins clashing outside of the ring, throwing punches and shoving each other to the ground. What made this situation even more alarming was the fact that it happened in the presence of several WWE executives, including Triple H, who was on hand to oversee the production of the show. This wasn't a part of the show's script. This wasn't something that had been planned for television. It was a raw, unfiltered incident that threatened the very foundation of WWE's professional conduct. Although the altercation was broken up quickly by other members of the roster and backstage security, the damage had already been done. Word spread quickly throughout the locker room, and soon, the entire WWE roster was buzzing with the news of what had just transpired. The fallout from the altercation was swift and immediate. WWE superstars are expected to maintain a high level of professionalism, both on screen and behind the scenes. Physical confrontations, particularly outside of scripted segments, are not only a violation of company rules but could also send the wrong message to the locker room and, more importantly, to WWE's massive audience. If one superstar can break the rules with impunity, it sends the message that others may feel entitled to do the same. Triple H, who has long been seen as a figure of authority in the company, now found himself in the difficult position of having to address the issue publicly. Despite the fact that both McIntyre and Rollins had a reputation for being two of WWE's most dedicated and professional performers, there was no way around the situation. Triple H could not afford to let this go without repercussions, or it would set a dangerous precedent. In WWE, where discipline and order are as important as athleticism and charisma, allowing such behavior to slide would signal a decline in the company's commitment to its values. The decision was made. Both McIntyre and Rollins were indefinitely suspended from WWE programming. The suspension, though a harsh punishment for two of WWE's biggest stars, was intended to send a clear message: no one is above the rules. The suspension would also come with a substantial fine, the details of which would remain private, further cementing the gravity of the breach. Behind the scenes, the punishment caused a ripple effect. Both men had a large fan following and had been key players in WWE's main event scene for years. Their suspension would undoubtedly affect the company's storyline development, especially with major pay-per-views on the horizon. In the locker room, there was a mixture of shock, confusion, and a sense of uncertainty. While some superstars quietly supported the decision, others questioned whether the punishment was too harsh. The reaction from the locker room, the reaction from the WWE locker room, was a delicate balancing act. On one hand, there was respect for Triple H's decision to uphold the rules. Many superstars in the locker room had spent years building their careers under the assumption that WWE was a company where professionalism reigned supreme. A significant number of wrestlers privately praised Triple H for not letting personal issues between colleagues spill into the workplace. On the other hand, there were murmurs of dissent. Some wrestlers who had long been accustomed to the tight-knit camaraderie in the locker room felt that the punishment might have been too severe, given the nature of the altercation. After all, McIntyre and Rollins were known to have a fierce rivalry, and it wasn't unusual for two stars to become so emotionally invested in a feud that they let their tempers flare. These locker room debates didn't go unnoticed by Triple H, who quietly monitored the situation, preparing for the inevitable fallout. The larger impact the suspension of McIntyre and Rollins sent shockwaves through the wider WWE ecosystem. The company's top brass, including Vince McMahon, who still held significant sway over the business, had to publicly endorse the decision, backing Triple H's call. The media coverage that followed was intense. WWE's strict adherence to its policies was now under the microscope, with pundits and fans alike debating whether the punishment was an overreaction or a necessary step to preserve the company's reputation. The timing couldn't have been worse. WWE was gearing up for a major pay-per-view event, and both McIntyre and Rollins had been pivotal to the storyline. Their absence left a void, and plans for the show had to be drastically altered. In the weeks that followed, WWE scrambled to make adjustments to its programming, using existing superstars to fill the gaps. The impact of the altercation was felt beyond just McIntyre and Rollins. Their punishment became a cautionary tale for all WWE superstars. The message was clear: professional conduct would always be more important than personal grudges, and WWE was a company that upheld its rules above all else. For those looking to push boundaries or test the limits of authority, the example set by Triple H's swift and decisive action would linger in their minds for a long time. Conclusion. In the end, Triple H's punishment of Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins for their backstage altercation served as a reminder of WWE's commitment to professionalism and discipline. While the punishment was harsh, it reflected the seriousness with which WWE treated its long-standing rules. The impact of the incident would continue to reverberate through the locker room, reminding the roster that no one, no matter how powerful or beloved, is exempt from the company's expectations. The incident would eventually be a distant memory for WWE fans, who would once again focus on the company's captivating storylines and thrilling in-ring action. But for those in the WWE locker room, the lessons learned from this moment would shape their behavior for years to come. Triple H to break up a top tag team on WWE SmackDown after its recent setback? Exploring potential betrayal, the upcoming edition of SmackDown is expected to be a blockbuster thriller, as it will see the fallout of Crown Jewel 2024. Besides, WWE could also sow the seeds of some fresh feuds and rivalries on the show. Triple H may have some huge surprises and shockers in store, and one of those could be the implosion of a prominent tag team on the brand. This week on SmackDown, the WWE Universe could get to see the last of #DIY, as the duo could break up. The speculation arose after what transpired between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa a few weeks ago. They failed to win the WWE Tag Team Championship #1 Contenders Tournament final against the Motor City Machine Guns. Ciampa looked frustrated with his stablemate as he walked away after the match. This could be a major indication of his impending heel turn, as Triple H could be planning to split the two. WWE might show a segment between the two #DIY stablemates this week in which they could hug each other to resolve their issues. However, Tommaso Ciampa's smile could then fade away, and he could turn his back on Johnny Gargano. In a shocking turn of events, the Blackheart could unleash a ruthless attack on his best friend, leaving the arena in somber silence. This could officially mark the end of #DIY after months of subtle teases. In the aftermath of the potential betrayal, they could embark on their journeys as single stars on SmackDown, heading towards a fresh beginning. The sweeter the #DIY reunion was, the crueler the separation would be. However, this is just speculation at the moment. It will be interesting to see what the next chapter of the tag team will be following the recent setback. Triple H to give Tommaso Ciampa a massive push as a single star on SmackDown? Ever since moving to the main roster, Tommaso Ciampa has failed to create much of an impact. Although he delivered some great matches along with Johnny Gargano in the tag team division, it hasn't been smooth sailing for the 39-year-old. Notably, Ciampa is one of Triple H's favorite wrestlers, as seen in NXT. With WWE teasing his heel turn, there is a good possibility that the game may have big plans to give the 39-year-old a massive push on SmackDown. The company might be planning to repackage the Blackheart as a single star and build him as an intimidating force on the main roster. Given the ongoing situation, #DIY's breakup seems imminent. Following a potential split with Johnny Gargano, Triple H could establish Tommaso Ciampa as a main event talent and inject him into the championship picture. The WWE Universe could finally get a glimpse of the very person Ciampa used to be back in NXT. While this is an intriguing prospect, whether it happens or not remains to be seen. The upcoming edition of SmackDown will be a must-watch show that might shed light on the future of #DIY. WWE SmackDown had been buzzing with excitement for weeks after the sensational rise of one of its top tag teams. These athletes had captured the imagination of fans worldwide with their chemistry, athleticism, and daring exploits in the ring. But, as history often teaches us, no dynasty lasts forever. The rise of this tag team had seemed unstoppable, yet a series of recent setbacks had left fans questioning whether the partnership could continue. Behind the scenes, Triple H, WWE's chief content officer and mastermind of many of the company's biggest moments, had been watching closely. He knew that in the world of professional wrestling, the thrill of success is matched only by the drama of failure. He had seen what the fans hadn't: the team's fractures, their cracks in communication, and the growing tension between its members. While fans had witnessed a few missteps in recent weeks, Triple H had already begun formulating a strategy that could shake SmackDown to its core. The tag team, a brief history. The team in question was one of SmackDown's brightest stars. For months, they had been the cornerstone of the tag team division, dominating opponents with their seamless teamwork and complementary wrestling styles. The team's dynamic was electric. One member brought power, while the other brought agility and high-flying daredevil antics. Together, they seemed unstoppable, but the honeymoon phase had ended. The cracks began to show during a recent match. A miscommunication led to a loss at a high-profile event, and the team's bond appeared more fragile than ever. During their post-match interview, tensions were palpable, with both members offering half-hearted answers and avoiding eye contact. One seemed increasingly frustrated with the other's failure to meet expectations, and the underlying sense of animosity was clear. That's where Triple H saw an opportunity. The plan, a strategic betrayal. Triple H knew that the time was right to shake up the tag team scene. He had his eye on a few rising stars who could easily slide into the spotlight, but first, he needed to ignite a major storyline, a betrayal that would leave the fans stunned and captivated. The SmackDown Tag Team division needed a change, and what better way to do that than by breaking up one of its top acts? The idea was simple yet brilliant. He would orchestrate a scenario where one member of the team would betray the other in the most unexpected way, setting off a chain of events that would reshape the landscape of the tag team division. But, of course, it wasn't just about creating chaos, it was about crafting a story that fans would invest in, a narrative that could carry them through weeks of twists, turns, and shocking moments. The seeds of betrayal, SmackDown Live. The stage was set for SmackDown. The tag team champions were scheduled for a high-profile match against a formidable team, one that had been rising in the ranks. The storyline was primed for an explosive moment, an unspoken tension had been building between the partners, and now, in front of thousands of screaming fans, the betrayal would come to light. Before the match, Triple H had a meeting with the team. He subtly planted the seed of doubt in the mind of one of the partners, the one who seemed to be the most vulnerable to frustration. The idea was to manipulate their emotions, using the frustration of losing matches as a trigger for the betrayal. Triple H was known for his psychological tactics, and he knew exactly how to push the right buttons. Look, you've carried this team for a long time. You've been the engine that drives it, but now you're being held back, Triple H told the individual. You've got the talent to go further, but you'll never get there unless you take control of your future. Don't let this partnership define you. You're more than just a second fiddle. The word struck a chord. The partner had been feeling like they were in the shadow of the other, and Triple H's manipulation only fueled their desire for a change. The seed of betrayal had been planted. The Betrayal Unfold SmackDown arrived, and fans were on the edge of their seats. The tag team champions entered the ring, brimming with confidence despite the recent setbacks. They appeared united, but Triple H had designed every moment to sow the seeds of destruction. The match was set to be a barn-burner, but the drama was about to explode far beyond the action in the ring. As the match raged on, it was clear that the champions were on the verge of victory. The fans were chanting their names, excited to see their favorite team claim another win. But then, the unthinkable happened. During a critical moment, the partner who had been slowly manipulated by Triple H made a decision that shocked everyone. Instead of completing a tag or assisting in a pivotal move, they turned on their partner, delivering a devastating blow that sent their teammate crashing to the mat. The crowd fell silent as the betrayal unfolded, and the stunned look on the other partner's face was clear. It was not only a shock to them, but also to everyone watching at home. The betrayed partner, struggling to comprehend what had just happened, was left helpless as their once loyal teammate made the pin and secured the victory for their new team. Triple H's master plan had come to fruition, and the betrayal was complete. Aftermath, chaos and backstage fallout. Backstage, the atmosphere was tense. The betrayed partner was fuming, demanding answers from Triple H. The moment was a powder keg ready to explode, and Triple H knew that he had to handle the fallout carefully. The next week on SmackDown, both partners were given the opportunity to speak their piece in a live segment. The betrayed partner, still visibly angered, cut a passionate promo about how they had trusted their teammate and how that trust had been shattered in front of the world. They vowed revenge and promised to take down their former partner, no matter what it took. Meanwhile, the betrayer, now aligned with Triple H's faction, calmly explained their decision. They spoke about how they had been held back, how they had always been in the shadow of their partner's success, and how they now realized that it was time to take control of their destiny. The crowd was divided, with some cheering for the betrayed partner's desire for revenge, while others were intrigued by the heel turn, seeing the betrayal as a calculated move for personal success. The division had been torn apart, and the ripple effect of this betrayal would reverberate across SmackDown for weeks to come. This was no longer just about tag team titles, it was about pride, power, and the future of both competitors. The betrayed partner had nothing to lose, while the betrayer was now set to climb the ladder of success, all thanks to Triple H's ruthless foresight. Conclusion: a new era for SmackDown's tag team division. Triple H's decision to break up the top tag team was a calculated and masterful move. It had created chaos and unpredictability, breathing new life into a division that had grown stale. The betrayal was a catalyst for new storylines, new rivalries, and fresh talent emerging from the ashes of the old partnership. In the world of WWE, it was a reminder that no one is safe, and that betrayal, no matter how shocking, can change the course of history. For fans, it was a moment they wouldn't soon forget. And for Triple H, it was just another brilliant chapter in his legacy of shaping WWE's future. Braun Breaker and Sheamus receive a message from Triple H, both superstars involved in a major angle. Triple H sent a message to Sheamus and Braun Breaker before their clash on WWE Speed. The two superstars were eliminated from the tournament after their match ended in a time-limit draw. Braun Breaker and Sheamus pushed each other to their limits in a hard-hitting contest to determine the number one contender for the Speed Championship, currently held by Andrade. After the 3-minute timer ran out, the match ended in a draw. The two superstars also got into a huge brawl after the bout. Taking to Twitter/X, Triple H had hyped up the contest, sending a message to both. The quarterfinals are off to a hard-hitting start. #IC Champion at Braun Breaker will battles at WWE Sheamus in the number one contenders tournament today on #WWE Speed, Triple H wrote. Freddie Prinze Jr. thinks Braun Breaker is the next Brock Lesnar. Freddie Prinze Jr. spoke highly of Braun Breaker, claiming he is the next Brock Lesnar. The Beast Incarnate is a former multi-time WWE Champion and Universal Champion. Speaking on the Wrestling with Freddie podcast, Prinze Jr. discussed Breaker's future, stating that he needed to improve his mic skills. The former WWE writer added that the rising star will be ready in another year as Raw moves to Netflix. I want him to be ready for Netflix because I know WWE feels like he's gonna be their next sort of Brock Lesnar, big-time star. I don't know if he'll be ready to be the lead of that show by January. But I think if you give him another year, you'll see leaps and bounds as far as improvement on the mic. At the SummerSlam Premium Live event, Breaker won the Intercontinental Championship by defeating Sami Zayn. He lost the title to Jey Uso the following month before regaining it on the October 21, 2024 edition of Raw to become a two-time champion. Meanwhile, Sheamus was recently involved in a fatal four-way match to decide the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest emerged victorious over the Celtic Warrior, Dominic Mysterio, and Seth Rollins. He will challenge Gunther for the title in the coming weeks. The WWE locker room was buzzing with anticipation as the lights in the arena dimmed for the night's opening segment. But in one corner, away from the chaos, two of WWE's toughest superstars, Braun Breaker and Sheamus, sat alone. Breaker, still a rising star, leaned back against the wall, his eyes fixed on his phone screen. Sheamus, on the other hand, was cleaning his boots, an intense focus in his eyes that only the most seasoned veterans could possess. The sudden sound of a notification on Breaker's phone shattered the silence. He picked it up, and a look of surprise flickered across his face. He quickly unlocked the phone and saw it was a message from none other than Triple H himself. Sheamus, noticing the change in Breaker's demeanor, raised an eyebrow. "What is it, lad?" Sheamus asked, his voice a mix of curiosity and suspicion. "Triple H doesn't send out messages to just anyone." Breaker nodded, his jaw tightening. "I think this is the one, Sheamus. The one we've both been waiting for." Sheamus raised an eyebrow. "Careful now. The game doesn't hand out opportunities lightly." But Breaker was already reading the message aloud. Asterisk Braun, Sheamus, meet me in my office in 15 minutes. We've got business to discuss. This is bigger than anything you two have ever been a part of. Asterisk Sheamus didn't respond immediately, taking a long pause to let the words sink in. He stood up, grabbing his towel from the bench. Big business, eh? Sounds like it's worth a look. They both left the locker room and made their way toward Triple H's office, a sense of anticipation building with every step. Both men, in their own right, had been mainstays of WWE for a while now. Breakker had exploded onto the scene, creating a legacy that seemed to mirror the intensity of his bloodline. Sheamus, however, was a battle-hardened veteran, a former world champion, and a cornerstone of the company for years. Their paths had crossed before, but nothing like this. Inside Triple H's office, the King of Kings was seated at his desk, a grave expression on his face. He looked up when the door opened, his piercing eyes scanning both men as they stepped inside. Sit down, both of you, Triple H commanded, his tone leaving no room for hesitation. Sheamus and Breakker sat across from him, their minds already running through the possibilities. Triple H didn't summon talent for small matters. Whatever was coming, it was going to shake the very foundation of WWE. I've been watching both of you, Triple H began, leaning back in his chair. You both have something that WWE needs. Sheamus, you've carried this company on your back for years, but now, it's time for someone else to rise. Braun, you've got the pedigree, the fire, and the heart to be a future champion, but you're not quite there yet. Breakker's eyes flared, but he didn't speak. He knew Triple H wasn't one to mince words. He was about to hear something that would change the course of his career. I'm putting you two in a program together, Triple H continued, his voice cold but determined. Not just any match, but a full-on angle. You're going to face off, but this won't be a simple rivalry. I want you both to elevate each other. I want the world to look at this and say, that's the future of WWE. Sheamus and Breakker exchanged glances. Both were used to competition, but this was different. They weren't just fighting for bragging rights or titles, they were going to shape the future of WWE. Breakker spoke first, his voice steady but filled with fire. You want us to work together, but we'll tear each other apart in the process? Triple H gave a small, knowing nod. Exactly. This is about more than just a match. This is about showing the world that the old guard can coexist with the new, but there's always that conflict. It's a battle of generations. Sheamus, you've been here long enough to know how to make this business work. Braun, you're the new blood, the next in line. You two will build a legacy together. Sheamus chuckled softly, a wicked smile creeping across his face. Ah, the old guard versus the new, eh? This could be fun. I'll show the lad what it really takes to make it in this business. Breakker, his confidence unwavering, leaned forward. I'm not just here to make friends, Sheamus. I'm here to take over. Triple H, pleased with the tension already building between them, leaned forward on his elbows. That's what I like to see. This isn't going to be an easy ride for either of you. We're going to make this a multi-layered storyline. There will be challenges, backstage segments, in-ring promos, everything. You two will get under each other's skin. Fans will wonder how far this can go. But remember, in the end, only one of you can be on top. Sheamus let out a low laugh, clearly enjoying the thought of facing Breakker head-on. Well, lad, you may have the youth and the energy, but I've got something you don't, experience. You've still got a lot to learn. And I plan on showing you how it's done. Braun Breakker met Sheamus's gaze, unflinching. I'll show you why they call me the future. I'm not backing down from anyone, especially not you. Triple H leaned back, satisfied with the fire he had ignited. Good. That's exactly the kind of attitude I want. This is going to be a rivalry for the ages. You two will headline a pay-per-view, but it won't end there. We're going to stretch this out, let it simmer, let it grow. It's going to be epic. And in the end, someone will come out on top, but who that is, that's up to you two to decide. He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. The world's watching. Make it count. As the two men stood up to leave, Sheamus turned to Breakker with a wry smile. Let's make this interesting, eh? Breakker didn't flinch. I'm ready. Let's make history. With a nod from Triple H, the two men exited the office, both aware that what lay ahead would be the most defining moments of their careers. The rivalry between the past and the future had begun, and the WWE Universe would be on the edge of their seats to see who would come out on top in this battle of generations. The game had set the stage. Now, it was up to Sheamus and Braun Breaker to take the ball and run with it. They had no idea just how big this would get, but one thing was for sure, the world of WWE would never be the same again. Triple H reveals insight into how WWE plans its next big events. The new era of WWE is moving forward as 2024 comes to an end with Survivor Series, War Games. Next year opens with the Royal Rumble to kick off the road to WrestleMania Vegas, while the first ever two-night SummerSlam is also planned for 2025. Meanwhile, Triple H has commented on a massive WWE program and offered a unique insight into the company's success. World Wrestling Entertainment's chief content officer has been widely credited for the company's immense success from the first stretch of the TKO era. Triple H has focused on the creative aspects of the product while letting Shawn Michaels run NXT as the senior vice president of talent development creative. The result has been major PLE growth on all three brands. The game talked about working with Saudi Arabia at the Countdown to Crown Jewel event, noting that they love the partnership and adding that this all stems from Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's vision to bring the best international entertainment to the kingdom. Triple H touched on the struggle to feature female superstars in the kingdom and revealed that Saudi officials requested more women's division talents on their PLE shows. He sees that as a sign of the country's progress, the dedication of the fans, and the company's power as a global brand. The CCO then revealed insight into how they never dwell on the past and believe in over-delivering. One thing about WWE that I know, we never look at what we've done before. We always look at how can we make it better. So, no matter what the show is, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Crown Jewel, we're always looking, as soon as it's over, at, okay, how can we make this show bigger for next year? Simple way to put it is just over-delivering every time we come here and making sure that when we leave, people not only feel like they got to see the greatest show they could, but they know when we come back, it'll be even better, Triple H said. H/T to Body Slam, Triple H simply said yes when asked if WWE is in the kingdom to stay. The company and Saudi officials announced a 10-year strategic partnership in 2018 for one PLE per year, expanded to 2 events per year in 2019, and is through 2027. Saturday's Crown Jewel was the 12th event. Triple H leaves WWE Championships on display. World Wrestling Entertainment's 2024 Crown Jewel featured a new annual tradition as Cody Rhodes became the inaugural Crown Jewel champion, and Liv Morgan was named the inaugural Women's Crown Jewel champion. Cody defeated Gunther for the honor, while Liv defeated Nia Jax. Triple H presented Rhodes and Morgan with custom Crown Jewel championship belts after their matches, and they were presented with custom rings to commemorate the win. The title belts were left in the kingdom to be defended next year, and until then, they will be on display at the WWE Experience attraction in Riyadh. Triple H shared the following footage from the weekend. After Saturday's historic #WWE Crown Jewel, the Crown Jewel Championships are now on display at the WWE Experience. This place is truly unlike anywhere else. If you're part of the WWE universe, make sure you check it out. At Riyadh season, Triple H wrote with the video below. Officials announced that Saturday's PLE saw a 28% viewership increase over the 2023 show, setting a new record for the most viewed company event in Saudi Arabia. Mohammed Abdo Arena was also sold out. Triple H reveals insight into how WWE plans its next big events. The lights dim, the crowd roars, and the WWE Universe eagerly anticipates the next big spectacle. Whether it's WrestleMania, SummerSlam, or the annual Survivor Series, the planning that goes into these events is nothing short of monumental. For those who don't see the intricate web of coordination, it all seems like magic. But behind the curtain, a well-oiled machine works tirelessly to craft moments that will live on in the hearts and minds of fans forever. In a rare and exclusive interview, Triple H, WWE's chief content officer and a legend in the ring, opens up about how the company plans its major events, creating a roadmap to success that blends creativity, strategy, and passion. As the interviewer settled in with the former World Heavyweight Champion, he was eager to get a glimpse behind the curtain of WWE's planning process. Triple H, known for his deep understanding of the wrestling business, smiled knowingly and began to speak candidly about the delicate balance between storyline development, fan engagement, and the massive logistical effort involved in executing these spectacular events. Understanding the big picture, it all starts with the end goal in mind, Triple H began, leaning back in his chair. We look at every event as a chapter in a larger story that we're telling. The long-term vision drives everything. Sure, we plan individual matches and moments, but we're always thinking about the bigger picture. What's the end game? Where do we want our superstars to be by the time the event ends? For Triple H, this means that each match isn't just a standalone contest, it's part of a broader storyline. The annual events aren't just about selling tickets, pay-per-views, or streaming services, though those are crucial. The ultimate goal is always to ensure the WWE Universe is invested in the journey. WrestleMania, for example, isn't just another wrestling show. It's the culmination of months of storytelling, drama, and emotion. We're building to that moment, and everything we do leading up to it needs to align with that end goal, Triple H explained. It's a careful process, where everything from the matches to the entrances to the overall presentation is crafted to ensure we give fans an unforgettable experience. The role of creative collaboration planning a big event like SummerSlam or WrestleMania isn't something Triple H does alone. While he plays an instrumental role, the entire creative team is involved in every step of the journey. We have a very collaborative process here. Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, the writers, the producers, everyone has a hand in making these events what they are, Triple H said, his tone reflecting the importance of teamwork in WWE. Each person brings their own perspective and creativity, and it's about taking those ideas and finding a way to weave them into something that feels fresh and exciting for our fans. Behind the scenes, WWE's creative team gets to work months ahead of the event. They start by discussing potential feuds, matchups, and story arcs that will get the most emotional investment from fans. This is when the team brainstorms everything from who might face off in major title bouts to the secondary storylines that will add layers to the event. We try to get everyone on the same page early, Triple H explained. We have brainstorming sessions where we'll pitch ideas and debate what would work best for the storyline we're telling. It's all about creating the right narrative at the right time. You don't want to rush a big match, and you want the build-up to feel organic. Sometimes the best storylines come from a spark of inspiration in a meeting or backstage. One of the most significant challenges, according to Triple H, is balancing the traditional elements of WWE with the ever-changing needs of the modern audience. The world is constantly evolving. Fans have become more sophisticated, and social media plays a huge role in how they engage with the product, Triple H said. We're mindful of that. While we want to stay true to what made WWE so iconic, we also need to stay current and give fans what they're looking for in terms of surprises, matches, and character development. Fan engagement and feedback. One of WWE's greatest strengths is its connection to the audience. Fans, whether watching from home or attending live events, are an integral part of WWE's success. Triple H emphasized that fan feedback plays a vital role in shaping the direction of big events. We're always listening to the fans. Whether it's through social media, live events, or the WWE Network, we have a direct line of communication with them, he explained. Their reactions shape how we evolve. If they're really into a certain superstar or storyline, we're going to lean into that and give them what they want. That doesn't mean we're driven entirely by fan feedback, but it's certainly an important consideration. The interaction with fans has become a core part of WWE's marketing strategy. Whether it's revealing matchups, dropping cryptic teasers on social media, or allowing fans to vote on certain decisions, such as stipulations for matches, WWE has found creative ways to keep the audience engaged from week to week. The anticipation around major events is carefully built through these interactions. Logistics and execution. While the creative side of things might sound exciting, the execution is where the true challenges lie. Planning for an event like WrestleMania requires coordination on a massive scale, from ensuring the talent is in top condition to overseeing the technical aspects of production. You have to understand that these events are huge. We're not just booking matches. We're working with thousands of people behind the scenes, from camera crews to stage designers, to ensure everything goes smoothly, Triple H said. WrestleMania, for instance, is an entire city's worth of production. We have to account for everything, from set designs to pyrotechnics, to ensure that the whole experience is epic. One of the most notable aspects of WWE's big events is the entrances. Triple H explained that these are often one of the most carefully thought-out aspects of the show. We take great pride in the entrances, he revealed. That's where we have the chance to make a statement. We want to create a moment that fans remember. It's more than just walking down the aisle, it's about setting the tone for the match. When The Undertaker comes out at WrestleMania, it's not just about his entrance, it's about building an atmosphere that makes the moment feel larger than life. The road ahead, the future of WWE events. Looking ahead, Triple H is excited about WWE's future. He believes that the company is entering an exciting new phase, thanks to its continued evolution and the opportunities presented by global expansion. WWE is about constant reinvention, Triple H said. We're looking at new ways to elevate the experience for our fans. We're always exploring different forms of entertainment and looking at how we can blend technology and storytelling to create something unique. We want to push the envelope in ways we haven't before, whether it's through new match types, fan interaction, or special moments that haven't been seen in wrestling before. One thing is certain, the planning and execution of WWE's big events will remain a massive, complex undertaking, but as long as Triple H and his team are behind it, the future of WWE will be anything but predictable. Ultimately, what we're doing here is creating memories, Triple H concluded with a smile. That's the most important thing. Every time we put on a big event, we want to make sure we're giving fans something they'll never forget. I acknowledge you. Triple H sends an interesting message on social media, reacts to video featuring Cody Rhodes. Triple H recently sent a message on social media acknowledging a young wrestling fan named Sam. During a recent WWE live event in Dublin, Ireland, Sam shared a heartfelt moment in the ring with Cody Rhodes. At the Crown Jewel 2024 Premium Live event, Rhodes emerged victorious over Gunther and became the inaugural men's Crown Jewel champion. Shortly after his historic win, the American Nightmare traveled to Dublin for a live event. During the live event, Rhodes shared a heartfelt moment with Sam. Reacting to the video, Triple H acknowledged the young fan. Bill Apter praised Cody Rhodes vs. Gunther from WWE Crown Jewel 2024. Legendary wrestling journalist Bill Apter spoke highly of the match between Cody Rhodes and Gunther at Crown Jewel 2024, claiming the contest was quite competitive. The 79-year-old veteran revealed that he was glad Kevin Owens and Goldberg did not interfere in the match. Quite a competitive match and a very surprising end. Both gave their best efforts, and I am glad no interference from Kevin Owens or Goldberg, as predicted, spoiled this main event. Classy aftermath with Gunther offering his hand to congratulate Cody, but hurling some inaudible words at the undisputed, and now the initial male, Crown Jewel champion. Gunther lost nothing by not winning this Crown Jewel title. He is still one of the most dominant talents ever in the modern era of pro wrestling, Bill Apter said. Rhodes and Gunther have previously crossed paths on a couple of occasions during the Men's Royal Rumble match in 2023 and 2024. Crown Jewel 2024 marked their first ever singles match against each other. Cody is set to feature in the upcoming edition of SmackDown. His next title challenger could be decided on the show. Amid his feud with the Ring General, Rhodes was also feuding with Kevin Owens, who turned heel after the Bad Blood 2024 Premium Live event. Triple H, the cerebral assassin, is no stranger to creating moments that ripple across the world of professional wrestling. His meticulous approach to wrestling and his ever-evolving persona has made him a pillar in WWE. But it isn't just in the squared circle where he leaves his mark. Social media has become an important tool for the game, offering fans a unique glimpse into his thoughts and reactions. In a recent unexpected turn, Triple H posted an intriguing message that sent shockwaves across the WWE universe. The social media post was simple but carried a message that many fans didn't see coming. Just a brief yet powerful statement, "I acknowledge you," followed by a link to a video that quickly gained traction among WWE fans and wrestlers alike. The video in question featured none other than Cody Rhodes, delivering an impassioned promo on the current state of WWE and the future of the company. It was a powerful moment that had fans and insiders wondering how Triple H would react. Cody Rhodes, having returned to WWE at the height of WrestleMania 38, had quickly ascended to main event status. His road to redemption after leaving the company years earlier and rebranding himself as an international superstar had captivated audiences. After all, he was the son of the legendary Dusty Rhodes, and Cody's rise felt like a culmination of the Rhodes legacy. However, since his return, Cody's journey has not been a smooth one, filled with distractions, betrayals, and the looming shadow of Roman Reigns' dominance. As the video unfolded, Cody spoke candidly about his struggles, aspirations, and his desire to be at the top of the company, something that many fans felt was long overdue. But it wasn't the content of Cody's promo that caught Triple H's attention, it was his delivery. Triple H, who has spent decades perfecting his craft in the ring, understood the subtlety in Cody's words and the passion behind them. As the video played, Triple H's eyes narrowed, and a rare smile appeared on his face. He wasn't just watching Cody Rhodes, he was watching a man who had grown and evolved before the eyes of the WWE Universe. The message, "I acknowledge you," sent a clear signal to the fans, but it wasn't just a nod to Cody's promo. It was a declaration that Triple H, who had played a role in Cody's early WWE career, was officially recognizing Cody as one of the top talents in the company. After all, the game had a reputation for being the gatekeeper of WWE. When he spoke, people listened. For Triple H to send such a message, it was a clear endorsement, a sign that Cody had arrived. He was no longer a part of the pack, he was leading it. Many fans speculated on the deeper meaning behind the message. Some thought it could be a subtle tease of things to come, a hint that Cody Rhodes could be in line for a monumental push, perhaps even to face Roman Reigns again for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Others believed it was a show of respect, a rare public acknowledgement from a veteran like Triple H to a talent that had earned his place through hard work and dedication. The WWE Universe exploded with theories and excitement. Was this Triple H planting the seeds for a future rivalry between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, perhaps even involving himself? Was it a passing of the torch, signaling the end of Roman's reign as champion? Or was it something more subtle, a message to the locker room that WWE was evolving, and new talent like Cody were stepping up to lead the charge? One fan pointed out that Triple H's message, "I acknowledge you," echoed the catchphrase of Roman Reigns, who has spent years declaring his dominance as the tribal chief. In recent months, Reigns had made it clear that he was the undisputed face of the company, but many fans had begun to wonder if his reign would ever come to an end. Triple H's message, seen by some as a challenge to Reigns' throne, was powerful in its simplicity. It wasn't a boastful or antagonistic message, but rather a respectful acknowledgement of Cody's talents and the journey he had taken to get to this point. But what did Cody think of the message? The response from Cody Rhodes came quickly after Triple H's post. In an interview on WWE's social media channels, Cody shared his thoughts, but he remained humble in the face of such a gesture. "I've always respected Triple H," Cody said with a nod. He's a guy who knows the business inside and out. To have him say something like that about me, well, it means the world." Cody's humility contrasted with the confidence he had shown in his promo earlier. It was clear that he wasn't just playing the part of a hero or underdog, he genuinely believed in his place within the company. He recognized that his journey had been hard, but he also understood that he had much to prove, and Triple H's acknowledgement was just another step in that process. Behind the scenes, the response from WWE officials was equally telling. It was no secret that Triple H had taken on an increasingly active role in the company's creative direction since taking over as head of creative. His influence had already begun reshaping WWE, bringing in fresh ideas, new talent, and elevating stars like Cody to new heights. But it wasn't just about power or creative control, it was about fostering a new era where talent like Cody Rhodes could thrive. Triple H's reaction to Cody's video was a perfect example of this philosophy. In many ways, Triple H's social media message was a statement of intention. He wasn't just reacting to Cody's promo, he was acknowledging the changing landscape of WWE. The time of dominating champions and corporate figures like Vince McMahon had given way to a new generation of wrestlers ready to take control of their destinies. Cody Rhodes, with his personal story and passion for the industry, was a representative of that change. Triple H had seen the potential in him and decided it was time to show the world that Cody Rhodes was more than just another top star, he was the future of WWE. The message "I acknowledge you" was, in many ways, an invitation for the fans to take notice as well. Triple H wasn't just a Hall of Famer in WWE, he was a symbol of what the business was evolving into. And in that moment, Cody Rhodes was the embodiment of that change. As the weeks rolled on, the buzz continued to grow. Fans began speculating on what would come next for Cody Rhodes, Triple H, and Roman Reigns. Was this the beginning of a new chapter in WWE? Would Cody's acknowledgement by Triple H lead to a showdown with Roman? The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: WWE was on the cusp of something big, and Triple H had just signaled that Cody Rhodes would be a part of it. In the end, "I acknowledge you" wasn't just a message, it was a promise. A promise that the future of WWE was bright, and Cody Rhodes was at the forefront of that future.